All right, family, we are officially live right now. And on 9/11, we are live at 9/11.
All
See how
right.
that works?
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for their patience. We're going to have a good time tonight. Saturn Day night, as Red be saying.
Saturday Night Live.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Who was telling me about Saturn? I don't know. Aquarius was telling me about Saturn.
She was going in.
Yeah, she was going in on the Water Gods presentation.
She
But
was going
family, let
in.
me get comfortable. Hit that like button. We got a plethora of things to talk about tonight. We got a brief demonstrate a presentation from Blue. We're gonna talk, we're gonna vibe, we got some announcements. It's gonna be a
You.
real good night. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We're gonna get to this quick Holy Ghost 3 commercial, and we'll be right back in 1 minute, family.
Started out with nothing. Now I got a whole lot of something. Breaking through the roof. Willie Walker when he pressed the button. When I do a money ritual, all of a sudden money started coming. Then I cut the Holy Ghost. I still be rhyming even when I'm mumbling. You repeat my name 3 times. While you staring in the mirror, bottle will appear like poof. I came from out of thin air. To me the gun is like a magic wand. I make a problem disappear. So when nigga tape out his mouth, just to turn him to veneer. I can do magic, I can do magic. 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 When I open up my mouth, I can move masses. Black magic on the beat, turn it to a classic. I'ma take the money out the bank, then I'ma put it in the mattress. Show me the niggas got.
All right. Shout out to Cam Bada. Blue making the face. That's that face. When you shout out to Cam. Holy Ghost 3 coming real soon.
Yeah.
Actually, we might as well start it out like this then, because we got a lot to talk about tonight. Blue, I forgot the flyer for Stone Mountain. Do you have it on you by any chance?
You.
The Stone Mountain flyer? Let me no, you know what? You texted to me. All right, well, let's talk about it and I'll bring it up. But to start out with, we're going back to Stone Mountain September 9th. September 9th, we are going back to Stone Mountain. Sunrise, right, Blue?
6:44 a.m. We will be meeting at Stone Mountain Walk-Up Trail, which is our normal location. The people, if you're not familiar with that area, you can Google it. Your GPS will bring you directly to Walk-Up Trail. Walk-Up Trail is in the same parking lot as Confederate Hall, unfortunately. And that's our meeting point. That's the entry point. I was there 2 weeks ago with the children. I was in a counselor for a youth program, and they have a disclaimer. They got a whole placard disclaimer set up now at where we normally gather at, saying that Stone Mountain is not responsible for, ironically, the political discord that might be associated with Stone Mountain. They never said the Klan stuff, but all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they don't share the same ideology that may be spoken on the mountain. You know what I mean? So I just noticed, all of these changes and disclaimers when we start showing up. You feel me? But they don't keep that same energy with international fanfare press that they get about them, the Klan gatherings and things of that nature. They don't denounce or there's no denunciation for that. You feel me?
Right.
But what we got going on, which is purely a spiritual movement, you know what I'm saying? They apparently want to disassociate themselves. So it's all right. We don't rock with Stone Mountain anyway. It's Crystal Mountain. We going more under the pretext of the original energy of the original inhabitants with original intent to connect and resurrect, what I'm saying, the energy of our ancestors. And as we can see,
Indeed.
That has been happening all around the board as of lately. Let's talk about it.
Indeed. So just real quick, family, September 9th is going down Stone Mountain. Oh man, we had a magnificent turnout the first 2 times we went. I want to see all of y'all in the Atlanta area. If y'all can make it, make it. What's beautiful is that whole weekend things are going down. Tassili got her mystical affair happening that weekend, and right after the
Yeah.
Stone Mountain, we're actually going to shoot the video for that track I played in the beginning. I could do magic. The name of it is Houdini, but we're gonna shoot the video for that at Tassili's Raw Reality right after Stone Mountain. So it's an eventful weekend. Red and AA Rashid got something the next day on Sunday. If you in town, you're gonna have a great weekend, family.
Be lit.
Yeah,
It's an
it's going
event pack weekend. You know, it is what the people have been asking for everywhere that I've been traveling and encountering people. They're like, when are you bringing it back? And being that I have to take off from my job and come to Atlanta, you know, I wanna do more than just go to the mountain. So
right.
we're gonna have events available laid out for the people, you know, all through that strong and
For sure, for sure.
Indeed. So yeah, that's gonna be popping, family. Make sure y'all tap in with that. Once again, 9923. We'll remind y'all again before September 9th comes around. Because we got some more announcements to make pertaining to that. We're trying to get some folks to join us up there, and we want to see what y'all think about it and input as far as that is concerned. But let's move on to the show. And a lot of things happening, y'all. One thing that's quite interesting is this situation in Hawaii. What they call the conspiracy theorists, they say they're running wild. I mean, the whole mainstream media is like, oh, the conspiracy theorists are talking about directed energy weapons and this is happening and that's happening. And Red put videos from the locals on his Instagram, and this dude was like, yo, this ain't what y'all think it is. Y'all being lied to. So with that being said, Hawaii has always intrigued me. I never went there, but I've always been interested in going there. There's something about it that calls me. And I never got a chance to make it there. With that being said, I know there's a history of Hawaii, and actually Blue has a presentation he's going to present to us with that as well. But talk to me about Hawaii, y'all, to start out this show. What's going on?
Well,
would you wait?
what we
Go ahead.
what we see taking place in Hawaii is a disaster of unprecedented proportions. The ancient capital of the Hawaiian capital actually was destroyed in
No. Yeah, let's put it correctly. The ancient capital of the Hawaii kingdom,
of
which
the
is
Hawaii
Lahaina.
kingdom,
Yes.
right, Lahaina. And all reports say that the fire, the origins of the fire is unknown, right?
Mhm.
So when you leave it open like that, then you leave it open to interpretation. The what they were trying to give as an excuse was that the hurricane winds were blowing off the coast, and it mixed with the with the it's a dry season and whatnot, and somehow that caused the whole island to catch fire,
Mm,
apparently.
mm,
And if people are ready to buy into that, or if that's something that, satisfies the curiosity of anybody, then, I don't know what to tell them. But based off of the reports that are coming back, and based off of people that are actually on the ground, and
mm,
based off of images that are being shared on social media, they are definitely putting a direct energy weapon in that picture. There's a lot of conversations that have been going on about that prime real estate that got burned basically to the ground, scorched and burned, right? This property is heavily sought after, and there are plans to implement what is known as the 15-minute city, or a smart city, right? In that same location.
mhm,
There's actually a conference that's scheduled to take place a month from now. And there's also reports that China and Russia were directly off of the coast of Alaska next to Hawaii performing war games, and they were being intercepted by American warships and things of that nature. So whenever I hear Hawaii, I begin to beckon Pearl Harbor, right? and because there's heightened activity in those areas right now, and we're statistically at war, right? As we sit here right now, the world war has already commenced, and in my books, it's already taken place. So for all of that activity to be taking place in that area, and for this island to burn, and people said that they didn't even, the residents didn't even know what was taking place until it was taking place.
Mm,
So
mm. And Blue, you have a presentation you want to show the people about what's taking
Yeah,
place?
I got something.
Yeah, let me see what's up.
You got a screen share option that I can. How does that thing
Uh,
work?
and
yeah.
before I land my plane, pardon me, I also want to beckon that the same feeling that I got from this fire is the same feeling that I got when the Amazon mysteriously burned, and also in Canada. All of that prime, because we're talking about prime real estate. We're not talking about wooded areas that are desolate. We're talking about areas. That Amazon fire, they had 300,000 inhabitants that live in kingdoms in the Amazon that
Mm,
are they have uncontacted tribes, and they also have tribes that that have made contact and whatnot. But the Amazon is not just a bunch of trees, right? That
mm,
land in Canada a lot of that land is sacred as well, right? It was owned by the quote unquote crown. So now we're looking at the Kingdom of Hawaii, that is an American colony, right? A kingdom that was recently overthrown, and Oprah has her house on that same land that just burnt to the ground, right?
mm.
And of course, the QAnon people are alluding to underground tunnels and things of that nature. But who knows?
uh,
But we keep hearing this is a pattern. It repeats itself. So my spider senses are definitely tingling on this one.
yeah, man. Wow. Um, yeah, Blue, you should be able to share it without a link, because when you're trying to share it, I get a notification on my screen.
All right.
So something should pop up. I see somebody up at 11 with Keena. Is there an Eventbrite link? No, there's no Eventbrite link for the 9/9 events. You just got to show up. There's no fee. There's a fee for the event with red and blue. Is there? There's a link for that one, right?
Yes, we have it.
Okay, let me. Yeah, you just.
Yeah, we got a link for the 9/10 event. It's called DMT 23, and it features Red, Blue, and AA Rashid. And this was going to be more like an experience. Okay, this will be a full interactive experience, and we going there highly metaphysical, and it's limited though, limited seating. We only have 60 seats available,
Wow, y'all better get
for
that
the
one
event.
fast.
Yeah,
60.
y'all better get on that. So I highly encourage everybody that's going to be coming into town to climb Stone Mountain to be a part of what we're doing with the DMT 23, because that's an extension of that experience.
No, definitely. I'll put the
Yeah,
link in the chat, and also the link is on the screen.
So
I
that would be
see.
the next day, correct?
Yeah, that's 9/10.
that's the next day. Yeah, that's the next
All
day,
right, that's
Sunday.
9/10. Yeah.
Yes,
All
that's
right,
Sunday.
Blue. I see.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the chat once again. We're starting to talk off where we're talking about what's going on in Hawaii. Things are
Yes.
looking real suspicious over there. Blue
Shout out
Pill's
to the
about to hit
chat,
us. Yo, Blue, your brother was on 2 days ago.
I know.
man,
Woo!
Shout, shout out
bro.
to Faith with
Did y'all see? Y'all
Supposed
seen
to
that?
open this up. Yeah, we supposed to open up the show before we even began,
yeah.
based off of what KT came and did and whatnot, and to pay homage
This KT's
to this
award. I gave him an
prodigy.
award.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. That's it right
I
there.
mean, oh, family.
Here's the second reward. I'm gonna give him.
Oh, this
Yeah, this is
Mario.
him, because he's, remember,
Mario.
Mario. He's the real Mario
He the
brother.
Shroom King. He the
He's
Shroom
the
Yeah.
King.
Shroom
So
King. We started
as,
after him.
as much as
Mm.
y'all is in the audience and y'all are being receptive to the information and the light that this brother is bringing, we also are part of the captive audience. KT is an anomaly. KT has always been an anomaly. And that's why we have arduously fought to secure his unique voice contrary to belief. You know what I'm saying? KT is very much an anomaly. He's very much, a one of one, and we are equally delighted in watching, his genius come full blossom. And it's no different, when we saw his presentation the other day. It was mind boggling. It was just like woo.
What he did on higher level conversations, and I'm biased because that's my younger brother, but to me that was the best one this year that I've seen, hands down.
Um,
And
and I will say that. Oh damn! Yo, we family, we like Styles and Jada. I don't be cutting red off. We bounce off one another. You know what I'm saying? I be finishing the sentences.
Blue, don't let that affect you, Blue. Come on, man. I
So
see
somebody said
you
if
thrown off.
mhm,
nah,
Oh, I
at the
see
same
KT. Yeah, I see KT. Shout out to KT. I see him in the audience. My brother
time, KT's
KT.
in the building.
yes,
Yes,
young
indeed.
Padawan,
Yes. I
Padawan,
really his presentation with you
love you
dealing with
too.
Tyrone, I like the visual component that was there. You know what I mean? I like the elevated conversation that he was able to have on high level, but I definitely love what he did over here as well. And that equal balance of both of those offerings, you know what I'm saying, has helped expand my knowledge base and my
Woo.
understanding about what's going on. So let me jump into this, if I may, just to add on, if I can. All right, can y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we'll jump right into it. Okay. So, this is an extension of a conversation that we were having on this platform in December of last year before the year began. And some of the players continuously get repeated. Shout out to Aquarius Maximus. It would be remiss of me to have a conversation about climate or weather conditions or the elements without acknowledging that we kind of always do this, even on this platform. She'll do a presentation, and then we come in and do something, that kind of like speaks to the same effect. I think that collectively we can step back and say that, what we're all saying is that there's a spiritual component that, what I'm saying, deserves deeper observation. So July was on record as the hottest month, right, of this particular, since they've been keeping a record of different climate conditions. Okay.
Well, hold up. The hottest month ever, Blue, or just this year?
Ever.
Oh, ever. God damn.
Yeah,
Okay, shit.
ever.
Damn.
According to the records that they've been keeping,
Right,
this has
right.
been the hottest July on record that they've ever registered. There
Yikes.
was consecutive days in July where it was the hottest recorded day ever.
Mm.
Now, that could be either here nor there. We felt the heat, you know what I'm saying? But then this is a global record as well. So we cannot be regionalized and localized in this conversation that we're having. Even though you may seem very comfortable in your home, there's things going on the planet that's affecting us. You know what I'm saying? So it's a globalized conversation. It's really a galactical conversation because we're speaking about things that are taking place in the cosmos that's affecting us on every plane of existence. So this heat is coming in, right? And everyone has attempted as best as they can to explain what's going on with the sun. I've been speaking about it since 2019 before it even happened or begun. That's a whole nother story. We know what we've been talking about with Corona rising. So the sun is acting a total fool, right? As predicted, as said that it would. It's just going off. It's shooting off all of these flares. And it pretty much intensified in this last week if we make the observation of the things that took place, starting with how the week started with Montgomery, leading into, all of the things that we saw taking place following up, right? This was the last week of the dog days of summer. Okay, we already established what the dog days were on this program plenty of times when we spoke about the dog days when they began on or around about July 3rd, which would be the July 4th weekend. So, right, dog days ended yesterday, all right, on the 50th anniversary, ironically. All right. So, here goes the information in the history, family. You could read it or screenshot it to catch up with the dog days. All right. Here goes the flares. Sun unleashes X 1.5 class flares, NASA captures the stunning display. It's all there for you to see, right? These took place on or about the 7th, right? So the 7th would be Monday. I believe the incident in Hawaii happened on Tuesday, if I'm correct, which would be 8/8, which is the Lions Gate. But because, I think what is Hawaii? 5 hours ahead of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll notice it took place, right? Even the solar flares was peaking at 446, right? You'll be seeing a lot of 44s in this presentation, because it's like that. That's just the way it is. But these solar flares have been pretty much acting up. They've been pretty intense, and they've been popping off left and right, right? So we explain it this time of year is around the Lions Gate is when the sun is at its most intense, right? Leo is the month that we can say that the sun is at its most exalted station, right? This is the pinnacle point of summer. This is when the lion's mane or the sun rays or the cosmic rays are going to be the strongest. This is when the sun is the most intense. And if the sun had a birthday, this would be its month, right? We celebrate the sun, and we understand Leo as the symbol or the sign of the sun, and all of the motifs that go hand in hand with Leo, such as the king, such as the heart, right? Such as children. So at the beginning of Leo, what happened? The king or the son of the king, who was King James' son, Bronny, suffered a heart attack, right? Son, king, heart, right? All of these things coincided with the coming of this particular Leo energy this in this particular season of Leo. Um, as you can see here, some of the numbers that are registered. We don't really understand Celsius on this side of the pond because we deal with Fahrenheit, right? But if you can see some of the smaller script up in the right hand corner, that gives you the Fahrenheit correlation to what some of these Celsius degrees are. So 48.8 degrees or Celsius would be 119. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying that the hottest temperature ever recorded on record was 134 degrees, which registered at Death Valley. But then the other day they said it was 135, I think, in Iran. Okay. So when we get to Hawaii, okay, and we look at the name of the city of the town that was devastated, right? This town, which was formerly the capital of the kingdom of Hawaii, a melanated kingdom, okay, Polynesian. We're talking about southeastern or South Asian countries, right? And thank you, Rev, for hitting on that part about Pearl Harbor. I'm gonna bring it full circle, of course, right? Lele was an ancient name of Lahaina. The Hawaiian language name Lahaina means cruel sun, describing a sunny, dry climate, right? It means merciless sun. Okay. All right. So that's the etymology and the meaning of this particular word. All right. Uh, we go into some gematria, of course. We're always going to find there's a 44 in play, especially if an incident happens on a Tuesday, which is a Mars day. You could almost bet your bottom dollar that you're going to find you a 44. All right. So here you go. I just gave you some 44 game that we can run with. Right. We find Lahaina 44s. We find Hurricane Dora, which they said was responsible for it. We find 44s. Right. And 44, interestingly, because when they're pointing to the fact that they said it's a direct energy weapon, that's military. Okay. So the number 44 means military, it means Mars, it means all things military. It means all things Tuesday, dealing with Mars. Um, so it's just interesting that those numbers will pop up. So here comes some history dealing with this particular city. This was very historic city. You know what I'm saying? This was a very ancient historic city dealing with housing the relics of their ancient kingdom. But it was a highly contested piece of property, as Red has been saying. Okay. They've been wanting to get their hands on this for a minute. All right. Um, don't so much look at this time. This is dealing with one of the volcanoes. I want you to pay attention to the map of the islands of Hawaii. You see Lahaina right here. You see Lena right here, right across from it. You see Maui, right here go to Big Island. You know what I'm saying? Honolulu, right? So it's a bunch of smaller islands all locked in. So Lahaina's right here in this island right here. Lena, this is an island that's entirely owned by Larry Ellison. Now I don't know how people go in a rabbit hole. We're looking at potential westernized billionaires that might be going dark, but I've been looking at Larry Ellison for a minute. He's the owner of a company named Oracle, which is a software company. And he's one of those dark triad characteristic type of people. You know what I'm saying? He's just always been dark, right? But he bought up this entire island right next to Lahaina, and he's pretty much muscling all of the residents up out of there so he can build it into a health resort, a wellness resort, right? Because the billionaires is woke. So he want to build a whole resort out, Four Seasons, Nobles, and all of that, right? Sustainable eco village in this part of the island, right across from Lahaina. When you go back to Lahaina, like Red was saying, you find Oprah Winfrey. Now, everywhere Oprah Winfrey's at, ironically, seems to burn to the ground. I think she lived in Monticello, which would have been, um, this is where the fires burnt earlier in the year, Santa Barbara, right? Not too far from Santa Cruz. She had a house in Monticello, right? That house burnt. That was near where Ellen DeGeneres and all of them was at. If you remember the footage earlier this year when the fires were burning in California in the beginning of the year, right? And the flooding was taking place and the mudslides and everything. She had property over there going through it. She got 2,000 acres on this island. 2,000, right? 2,000 acres of which she acquired about 80 something earlier, sometime last year. Okay. Clint Eastwood and Mick Fleetwood. They got Eastwood and Fleetwood owning property on the same island, right? Jeff Bezos, he owns a $78 million home on this island. Did y'all hear me?
78
So,
milli, bro.
million, right?
Hey.
On the island. But the people is living in third world conditions and everything. You know what I'm saying? Larry Ellison owns 90%, like I said, of Lanai, which is right across from there. Okay. And this is not, this is not an open indictment because we're showing that a billionaire owns 90 something percent of an island right next to it. You know what I mean? We not making an indictment. I'm just saying that the probability factor is kind of like, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So this is the TikTok video that was popping online, right? That spoke about the direct energy weapon. Apparently, they showed some images. Of course, AP didn't waste no time in saying that those images were fake, right? But I did research the conferences that he was speaking about, and sure enough, there was a sustainability conference last year, January, in Hawaii. There's another one coming up, you know what I'm saying? And they were speaking about all of the things that, are the normal talking points the conspiracy theorists, I suppose, speak about when they're speaking about smart cities. So, I mean, it was all laid out here and it's very detailed. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very detailed in terms of their ideas and direction that they wanted to take a particular sector of Hawaii going forward in the technological age. This is all part of the Great Reset. You know what I'm saying? Um, as you can see, the speakers involved the governor, right? This ain't no lightweight people involved with this planning. Okay, bits and bytes, a modernization journey, the new Hawaii enterprise financial system. So here goes the great reset in terms of because the great reset is a two-pronged process. They're talking about resources and they're talking about finances, and they go hand in hand because what we operate off of a petrodollar. So the currency is tied into the resources, and all of this shit is about, you know what I'm saying, oil gangsters and how they have twisted and turned the world upside down for their benefits. Chemical and oil gangsters run the world, right? And we just talk about bits and pieces of the carnage that they leave in their wake. That's what we're doing, right? So here goes some more. Digital transformation for government. The future is now, right? All of this stuff in here speaks about what? Smart tourism, use such data generated from destinations, i.e., smart cities, and tourists to help destination management organizations to make informed decisions. Visitors create more sustainable and enriched experiences, and residents improve their quality of life. And coexistent with visitors, data science and data analytics can be used to achieve smart tourism by extracting insights and making decisions on tourist behaviors, residents' quality of life, and destination management. So they already got all of their plans laid out for what they, the rebuild. You know what I'm saying?
They
And how
also talking about DeFi right there, and they
they
talking about DAOs. They talking about DAOs
yeah,
right
they
there.
talking about it all. This shit is so thoroughly laid out. It's like, yeah, clone,
Yeah, clone that.
you know. So when people were pointing out the direct energy weapon accusations or allegations or what have you, people were quick to note that this was similar to an event in California a few years ago called Paradise, California. And ironically, they're saying that this is Paradise of Hawaii, right? Paradise, California is a small town that also was destroyed and decimated by forest fires. And there was suspicions of direct energy weapons used because this was the first time online that I remember that people were showing the carnage of the burnt up cars, the bomb, you know what I'm saying? The melted cars, should I say, or, homes that were completely charred, but right next to them, the home next to them is standing and all of the trees are flush, or the trees are flush lined across the street, but all of the cars next to them are burnt to a crisp, things of such as that nature. This is where all of that stuff popped off from, and where the plethora of what they consider to be the quote unquote theories that circulate around these particular energy weapons, all of this is tied into Paradise, California. This is like one of the main case studies that they use to speak about that, right? So you might want to look into that if you have never seen the carnage of Paradise, right? And some of these individuals had moved to Hawaii and got caught in that the second time around. So they was just, reliving the trauma. So here goes the actual direct energy weapons that are on the market from Lockheed Martin, right? So it's not a conspiracy theory that these things exist, right? Or they could be utilized in that manner. The only question is who is doing it and why, right? But the fact that they do exist, that's not even questionable because they do exist. Okay. So again, here goes the AP article to the right. If you would see, old photos are being misrepresented online. A few conspiracy theory about the Maui wildfires, but like Red said, they still have not explained, and they just seem to brush these things or dust these things up under the rug if we're not ready to have these conversations, or if we don't have all of our, what I'm saying, all of the right questions in place. They just move on to the next narrative. No one has fully explained what happened in Canada and how those fires started simultaneously. Now, I have seen all sorts of scholarlistic, dissertations on it, and they still have not made any sense because they show the satellite feed and those fires all caught simultaneously or along a swath of land at equal miles. Now, how does that happen? You feel me? So there's a contingency of people that are saying, "Oh, these are direct energy weapons," and there's also a contingency of people that are saying, "Oh, this is UFOs." But then there's a contingency of people that are saying these are direct energy weapons utilized by quote unquote UFOs that are man-made UFOs that are part of the secret government programs that
Mm.
Stephen Greer and them have been speaking about at length as of recently. So a lot of these narratives tie in together, but we're looking at them like they're compartmentalized and separated when they're not. You know what I'm saying? So there are these stories that are popping up in a lot of villages. In Red, you made mention of the Amazon. The Amazon also is popping up with narratives about getting visits from You know what I'm saying? Our cosmic cousins. Interventions and things of that nature that are taking place with them and the miners that have been mercilessly killing them. You know, there were pretty much henchmen for Bolsonaro and them when they were destroying the forest. You know what I'm saying? There was intervention on behalf of some of those indigenous people by their cosmic cousins. You know, so a lot of this stuff is being reported around the world about them popping up and either locking in with the residents or terrorizing the residents, depending on the stories that you hear coming out. So this is one that's taking place in the Peruvian villages, right? So this is Peru. This is like right off the Amazon as well. You know what I'm saying? Then they got some of them in Indonesia, in Asia. So they it's a lot of activity. And then this particular part of the story is not being factored in. Now this where it becomes a little bit more esoteric. And again, I don't want to utilize situations such as my attempts to make these correlations. I don't want to discredit any loss of life, so I want to be very mindful that people have lost their lives in Hawaii in those conditions and lost their way of life, and it was a devastating situation. So I mean to never mean to make light of it. You know what I'm saying? But I cannot ignore our observation of this individual named Daystar, that every time he gets in a pinch, every time he gets in a situation, there's a weather condition involved, and the weather conditions are extreme, right? When he initially caught his, where he got convicted, it was around the winter solstice, and immediately after he gets locked up, the polar vortex happens. And immediately after polar vortex happens, then the inundation of rains hitting the west coast of California take place, you know? And we were surmising that it was a Leo ritual. There was some things that was taking place with Leo. I didn't think that it was going to take this long in Leo for him to be sentenced, but nonetheless, while all of this stuff was taking place, he gets sentenced as well on Lionsgate on 8/8, the same day as these fires in Hawaii. This is Daystar. This is a Leo. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to make a straight up messianic correlation to him, because the minute that you say that somebody's a child of God, people start throwing rocks, right? Well, I'm like, God damn, I thought we all was children of God, right? It's just certain of us have certain potentialities where they line up and the story is just a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, clear and concise. So with him, he represents a archetype, a motif. If you look over here on the right, this is what's called the tree of life. The tree of life is simply explaining, and shout out to A.A. Rashid, who did an amazing program on here dealing with the iron salt fault, right? And he was explaining how energy moves through matter, or how spirit moves through matter, how it descends from lofty planes down to an earthly plane, which is down here, Malkuth, the kingdom, the physical world. In the center, right here, this is what's called Tipperoth. Tipperoth will be considered, if we were look if we were personifying, right, these particular Sephiroth as they are, they're personified with angels and these things right here, as you can see. In the center right here, this would be considered the sun, right? This is the Sephiroth that you put Christ on. You put the Christ or the Messiah types right here in the center, right? So as an archetype, as a Leo, once again, right? As the sun, as the person is named after the sun, he would be right here, regardless of whether he's the risen Christ or not. It's an archetype and a motif. So every time that we see this archetype getting pressured or crucified in the press or in public or in the courts for that matter, we see some sort of extreme activity taking place with these weather patterns. And this day would be no different. I'm just saying that this is stuff that you can't argue, because it just goes along with it. You feel me? So that was an interesting observation to make. this connection, this continuous connection to this individual that has all of this solar energy, this day star energy. You know what I'm saying? And we also cannot ignore this correlation or this connection that took place as well, right? Just a few days after they canceled out Jamie Foxx, you know, we see a resurrection or return of another Christos Christ figure who we speak about very often, right? Dealing with hip hop esoterica, which is Kanye West. So on the day before this event, which would be 8/7 or Monday, okay, this dude gets an opportunity to perform in Rome, right? And the reception that was received when he brought Kanye West on stage, they thought it was a matter of fact, not only did they think there was an earthquake, it registered on the Richter scale like 1.2 or 1.3. And this was from them jumping up and down uncontrollably at the, you know, the excitement, you know what I'm saying? Of them seeing Ye resurrected, okay, by Travis Scott, who would be his almost like, I can't even say that he would be his John the Baptist and his Jesus, because, you know, we would have to revisit that relationship. But yeah, you know, ironically, this was a few days after the same weekend when they had just canceled my guy Jamie Foxx for making a very, you know, a random statement. The shit wasn't directed at, it wasn't even targeted, but it got picked up the wrong way and perceived because they don't understand our nuances. You feel me? They running with if, you know, my dude was a anti-Semite or something. You know what I mean? So once again, I find that interesting that that Ye will always find his way around these narratives and these stories without even trying. And it's also worth noting that the other day Sinead O'Connor died, and she was tied into Kanye West because the day that he'd appeared in the Paris Fashion Show, which was October 3rd of 2021, that was the 30-year anniversary of when she appeared on Saturday Night Live, October 3rd, you know, with the 1993, with the Pope, what you call it? But she tore the Pope's picture on live TV, right? Well, it couldn't have been 93.
That's a 30-year cycle.
Yeah, but that 30-year cycle, you know, he kind of, and nobody spoke because you know, the shirt that he wore, and then he wore the shirt with the White Lives Matter on it October 3rd. It had Pope John Paul on the front, but nobody talks about that. You know what I'm saying? And again, how could you say that white folks' lives don't matter? You treating the Pope like he's God? Houseway. So Travis Scott's concert at the Circus Maximus in Rome may have put ancient sites at risk, right? So he didn't get a chance to do it to Giza, but the nigga went to Rome and shook the foundation. So this is the Colosseum, y'all, right? Circus Maximus was at the Colosseum. You feel me? Or the Colosseum is nearby. This is another ancient monument. But all of this shit is right next to what's considered to be Palatine Hill. Now, Palatine Hill is the foundation. This is the cornerstone that all of Rome is built upon. This is the place that Remus and Romulus, the dogs, were actually feeding and feasting to even create Rome, right? If this nigga had knocked this shit down, I done bought him a Happy Meal. I mean, you know, whatever floated his boat. However, I can show my appreciation. That was one hell of a ceremonial ritual. You know what I mean? To bring so much energy that you rock the foundation of Rome. And that album played so much better with a Roman backdrop to it than it would had it been in Kemet, right? Because
Facts.
Kemet don't, you know, they don't, the Kemetic system doesn't even acknowledge the devil as a concept. That is purely something that is, you know, belongs to the Abrahamic religions. In particular, you bring it back to where it started. It needs to go back to Dante's Inferno or in Rome with the church or the Catholics, because that's something that's completely, you know, based on their fantasy and their mythology and something that they've created. So, you know, it doesn't lose us that he started his album out, that first track where he's talking about hell. Yeah, he needs to take it to Rome. It plays a lot better in Rome than it would have in Kemet. You know what I'm saying? So he has 60,000 people out there, um, you know, shaking the room. You feel me? Shaking the foundation of the earth underneath them. And that was that was a monumental play. Again, closing out Dog's Day, this person who represents Anubis, not Ampu, right? This nigga's very much, if anything, he's not commission, right? He represents that hybrid of that particular pantheon. So, you know, he was able to bring it home to Rome, you know, and now they want to cancel all future concerts coming to the historic sites, you know, citing possible damage. And then, you know, since we in Rome, let's see what the Pope got going on and what he's up to. They just had a big conference, okay, dealing with the World Day of Peace. And their focus now is going to be entirely about AI, the dangers of AI. Now, we explained in our When in Rome lecture series that the Vatican is responsible for the ethic committee on AI, right? We showed they had a whole meeting there once again with all three leaders of Abrahamic religion. So there was a top representative for Islam there was a top representative for Judaism, and the Pope is the top representative for Catholicism. And they were meeting Sam Altman and the rest of them. Now I'm seeing with Sam Altman coming out with the world coin and everything, now I fully get it. But these are the people that are going to be steering or censoring, for that matter, you know what I'm saying, the furtherance and what they're going to talk about, the ethics of AI as AI moves into personhood and citizenhood, you know, and my guess sometime early next year. What is technically already there, because Sophia was the first AI citizen, and that was in 2017. This shit is old, matter of fact. They just roping people in, you know what I'm saying, with the rollout of technology, um, knowing damn well, you know. And let me end on this, because Red spoke about Pearl Harbor and what we have to understand about those particular dog days between August 6th and August 9th is the anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Which were the dropping of the atomic bombs, right? So we would get caught up about a dual weapon, a direct energy weapon, but we don't even talk about the nuclear weapons. We don't even talk about the atomic bombs. We don't talk about the fact that they tell you that it's global warming and the ocean is heating up, but they still be testing $40,000 bombs in the ocean, in the ocean and everything, right? But I just wanted to bring the light these two individuals who were directly responsible for the policy decisions that led to these particular bombs, because we often, you know, in the fact that we're overlooking the concept of these crazy billionaires, right, these evil geniuses that got all of this bread, and we think that one person is incapable of doing something that could potentially be catastrophic to this planet or paradigm shifting, right? Harry Truman didn't have too many people that he was consulting about him making his decision to drop the bomb. So he consulted his Secretary of State, which is the individual named James Byrne. Now, James Byrne was a senator coming out of South Carolina. Both of these individuals were avowed racists, right, with ties to the Klan, with Truman having many slips on records. One of them you can see is highlighted right here. I think one man is as good as another. so long as he's honest and decent and not a nigger or a Chinaman. So there's only one person that they hate more than niggas, and that's the yellow man. And the 1900s was a 100-year, period of war where the Western man in particular went to war against the Chinaman. He had already situated his wars that he had with the red man and the black man prior to that. The 1900s was about him and the yellow man, right? Um, Vietnam, Japan, Korea,
Korea, Cam-
Philippines, Cambodia,
Cambodia.
Laos, right? North Korea, South. I mean, I think I said already. Yeah, all of them. You know what I'm saying? Any and every one of them that he could scrap with, he scrapped with. He won some and he lost some, right? But the decision was solely left to this avowed racist. I was in, ironically enough, I was in South Carolina in Greensville on Saturday of last week, um, when this incident in Montgomery took place, and I had to go live just because of the energy that I was feeling around me, the ancestors, and then the despicable nature of the melanated people that I seen in that town, how they was just so bent over, And then Rich, you was about to have a program that night with Wesley Muhammad about the UFOs, the melanated beings that pilot those crafts. And I
Right.
wanted to speak on that prior to that, the necessity that, even with me coming from the conference, and I went live a few days after that and was speaking about the need to have this universal outlook about race relations, because we have to prepare ourselves to step on the galactic, stage and meet with our cosmic cousins, and we're all one. It's just like, I also cannot ignore, what I'm saying, the fact that, you know, the race is tethered to a lot of things that are terrestrial, almost everything that we're dealing with. And even with the space conversation, is very much mitigated to racism and to colorism. And you only going to hear about 7 foot, pale skin, uh, blonde hair, blue eye aliens, and you're never going to hear about the melanated ones with the afros. And then we see Aquaman, that's saying Aquaman, and we see these melanated superheroes, these Avengers assembling, and people is like, oh, look at this, what's happening? What's happening globally? If that's the case, there's an uprising taking place around the planet. If you have not noticed, via melanated people, right? It's
Facts.
not just relegated to some goddamn incident in Montgomery, right? Our
Facts.
people are rising up. There's a corona rising taking place inside of our people, where in the season of Leo, you're seeing the fortitude, the courage, and the willpower. When you seen that South African president on stage, right? When you seen that general from Niger, when you
Right.
seen the family from Mali telling the French to take their language and their tongue and keep it peddling, right? Hit the road, Sam. When you seen Karen One on stage talking about the bridge is over last night,
Right. On the Queen set.
those violence on the Queens niggas.
Fact.
Yeah, I
Facts.
think he's a Leo too, but we'll get back to that. Right? That was some real line. That was some real dog day shit right there. But anyway, we'll get back to that. So, you know, these decisions have all been decided based on race, based on somebody's racial disposition. You know what I'm saying? And I know that it's more expansive now. It's about classism and 99 against the one and everything. But god damn, y'all. You feel me? Like, you know, you really gotta. I don't know if y'all seen the movie Oppenheimer.
Not yet. I ain't see it yet.
Didn't catch you yet.
Yeah, these are some next level devils. Feel me? So yeah, keep in mind, all of these incidents are taking place during the fat boy and the little man period. There's nothing that they won't do to somebody that they want to do something to get some shit from. Right? There's nothing that's beyond them. their game plan, his main game plan, even with dropping the bomb on Japan, they wanted to divest Japan. They wanted Japan to denounce their emperor. They wanted to break the people more than they wanted to destroy the land. Right?
Right.
They really wanted to bring the people to their knees where they denounced their emperor because they looked at their emperor as God. If they
Right.
could break the people and break the emperor in the face of the people, and the people denounced the emperor, then they knew that they would have had Japan the way that they wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Um, there's too much that they have done. There's too much sweetness that they have tasted from our people that they know. Oh yeah, I know this nigga's price. I know this nigga's price. I know this nigga's price. You feel me? So, you know, thank God for the uprising. Shit. With that, yeah, that's my presentation.
All right, all right.
Yes, bravo, bravo. Clap
Definitely,
it up,
definitely.
y'all. Hit the like button,
That
y'all.
like button. Definitely appreciate you dropping it like that, Blue, and giving us that info. Oh man, so many things you touched on, Blue. We're already an hour into the show. Oh well, let me ask you like this, Blue and Red. What is it? We touched on the real estate aspect and many other aspects going on in Hawaii. My question is, what do you think is happening in Hawaii in a spiritual sense? Because sometimes they move based on energy. I know Hawaii, for some reason, Hawaii is one place I've never been there in my life. I always wanted to go there. I always told my girl, I said, yo, if I had to buy a house internationally, I would want to buy a house in Hawaii. Why do I say that? I don't know. It's just something about Hawaii that seems to call me. But when I think of Hawaii, I think based on all the books I've read, I think about Mu. When they say Atlantis and Mu and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
So talk to me about spiritually and in ancient times, because we hear about Mexico and we hear about all these spots in antiquity. What does Hawaii mean to us spiritually, and what did it mean to our ancestors in ancient times?
Well, I mean, I think that you hit it on the head when you spoke about Mu. You know, they're part of the Polynesian Southeastern Asian contingency of islands. Like I said, they are extremely melanated people. They were part of a kingdom. Them and Arizona are the only two places in this country that are on the same, their time zones don't change. You know what I'm
Mhm.
Right.
saying? Um, there's so
Very
much Moorish history that's tied into this region as well, with it being the kingdom. Just like there's a lot of Moorish history tied into the Philippines with there being a kingdom, right? So
right.
once we would have to, even this extension, like I said, of this war that the Westerner has had on the Asian, it also extends to, what they did in the Philippines and what they did in Hawaii as well, decimating these kingdoms. You know what I'm saying? Or subjugating these kingdoms, killing off the remnants and the remainders of these kingdoms.
Mhm.
Dr. Kaba Kameni just did a documentary on the melanated monarchs of Hawaii. I heavily
Mhm.
suggest to check that out and look at it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yep.
Because the teacher makes it very plain. But yeah, the spiritual component, and then these are the people that tie into the Pele, the spirit of the volcano. You know what I'm saying? So we're speaking about the ring of fire ultimately in that region of the
So for the people
planet.
that know, who's Pele, Blue, for the people that don't know.
Pele is the spirit of the volcano, right? And I believe Hawaii is islands that were formed from volcanic eruptions. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? They also connect to a string of volcanic bodies called the Ring of Fire that exists in
Right,
that
right.
region. And all of these regions are tied into mythology. So when these regions awake and erupt, it always is the signaling of the coming of. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mm.
So that
Right. It's not to be
I mean,
looked at in a negative.
Hawaii is just a mystical place, and this is
Very
from everyone
mystical.
who has been there, and this is from everyone who's experienced it. Because everyone who has experienced it has not been there, like yourself. There's people
Mm.
that have full premonitions and callings to Hawaii
Mm.
of Hawaii that have never been there, but the visuals are almost
Yes,
identical when they get there and
yes,
experience it.
yeah.
Hawaii
Right.
is where they told me that the green is the greenest you've ever seen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
the things hit different. You know what I mean? And we have a lot of contingency. We have a lot of people that are on the islands of Hawaii that listen to the programs and tap into the information. So aloha to the Hawaii
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. If
Um,
Aloha.
if
Shout
if
out
you
to
in the chat,
Fusion.
if you in the
yeah,
chat, let us know. Anybody from Hawaii in the chat, let us know.
yeah. I would
All right.
love to. Yeah, I mean, I can't extend offers on your program for people to come forward, but I'm sure that if somebody comes forward with information about ancient Hawaii, or maybe this should be a great opportunity for you to holler at
Mm.
Kaba Kameni, because he also will be in Atlanta during the September 9th weekend doing a
Mm.
presentation at Records. So I'm
Oh,
Excellent.
sure that
no, no.
yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Fire.
Any pyramids in Hawaii? Any pyramids?
Yeah, they
Not
were.
that I know. I can't say off the break that I know of any pyramids in Hawaii. But
What
Yeah.
about the pyramids off the oceans of Hawaii? They said that they were pyramids in the oceans, right off the coast.
I ain't been there.
Mm.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I ain't seen them.
Yeah.
I ain't been there.
But
You know,
it's a very mystical place.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Somebody said maybe under the water. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's pyramids
that's what
under
I'm
the water.
saying.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised at all. I
that's
think
what I
they are.
remember.
Yeah, I think there are pyramids under the water over there. Definitely.
I know them
Definitely.
volcanoes are something else though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Them volcanoes, man. That'd be
Volcanoes are something else. You know what I
yo,
mean?
and let me say this because this we're talking about Hawaii being mystical, and the name I named this show, Let There Be Light. And we have a divine light within us, regardless of what lights they project in the sky or whatever they got. We got a divine. Let me show something real quick. Now, and this pertains to Stone Mountain. Now, this dude is a Twitch streamer.
Wow, yeah.
Big on YouTube. How many people he bought out Red? About what? What they
More than
said?
2,000.
I mean, he bought out thousands and thousands of people in Union Square for a PS5 giveaway.
We had
Right.
a
The
mini
point,
Travis. We had a
yeah,
mini Travis concert, yeah.
the point of me showing that is I want more people than ever to come out to Stone Mountain on 9/9. If now, this is what I'm saying. We talk about the savage, the so-called savage community, but they unite under savagery. They unite under savagery.
They
If they
formed
gotta
Voltron for the
if they gotta
fuckery.
if they gotta support Sexy Red and
Yeah,
Pound Town,
they outside.
5,000 of them is outside supporting Sexy Red and Pound Town. Now,
They
what I
Facts.
want
outside.
to tell y'all
What?
is this stone. I want to use some quantum collective energy on September 9th. Me and Blue have did collective meditations with the people before. I want there to be a collective meditation like never before. I'm gonna project the most powerful energy I can project, and I want us to come out and we're gonna make something happen. We're gonna make something happen. We're gonna use we got God power. We are God power, y'all. Don't get this shit twisted. You know what I'm saying?
Shit,
But so
we
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
bring Castanet and just that'll handle it all. Yo,
yeah. So
Castanet, yeah, go live on Twitch.
go live and come through.
I'm
But
putting an
yeah,
open
y'all,
request. Um, we need
Somebody
Dr.
said,
B said.
"Rich, give away that PS5."
that PS5, huh?
So they let my
Hold on,
this is my
hold on.
thing. All
Sam,
right,
let me finish my thought,
all
bro.
right, go ahead.
Blue, you come
Can we
over.
bring Dr. B on to play the drums?
Uh,
Right. So we can also incorporate some aspect of the God body blueprint, a blueprint for God power aspect into it. Cause I know that you brothers are doing manifestations of prayers and incantations and invocations and things of that nature. So I think this would be a wonderful way to charge up and lead directly, you know what I'm saying, into something that y'all doing. And what I witnessed that brother do with them drums at the event, you know what I mean? It was magical. It
yeah.
really got people
Yeah,
on the chord in one beat, and that's what we talking about. You know what I mean? How do we do our magic? We manipulate magnetic fields. How do we do that? Then we synchronize our minds and our hearts into one particular wave. You know, we've done it before. I did it on April 4th, 2020 with the quantum meditation. I've done it on this station or this channel with quantum meditations before. We can do this. You know what I'm saying? And it's the
Facts.
perfect time. So yeah, let's not sit on our rumps while the rest of the planet is waking up and standing up. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And beating on the chest.
we going in September 9th. We got over 2,000 people in the room right now. If there's 2,000 people in this room, at
Get it.
least 300 of y'all from this live stream should be there. It ain't
And the
it
mountain
ain't no
hold, yeah,
it ain't
they
no
can hold
price to
y'all.
go there.
It
Yeah,
ain't,
yeah.
it ain't no room. It ain't no space
I
limit.
want to
You feel
let's
me? It ain't no
unite.
space.
Why is it easier for the so-called 85ers to unite than it is for the 85ers to even support their artists? I want
Yeah,
to see
they
how many
pull
of y'all
up.
support me and Cam Botta's new album because they support their artists. Shit, all this shit coming out, all these people
Right.
going platinum and double platinum. The
What
Savage,
Travis did?
Travis, yeah,
700,000,
yeah,
500?
60 or 6, something like that. I mean,
No,
oh no, you talking about the
500.
albums? You talking about that? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Number
yeah,
one album,
yeah,
500K.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
they show up.
it's something about us with support financially and just
Yeah.
support that's
It's
different
like
from the
what
They said,
85ers.
you know what
what
Cam
what
said? You the best, you just not promoted right.
Yeah.
Marketing.
By the way,
what
by the
Means a
way,
lot.
quick side
twin
note.
sisters.
Quick side note. Yaki told me y'all that this is one of the best waters on the market. So I just wanted to let y'all know. I don't know. I'm just letting you know what the brother.
Aquafina.
He's one of the best in the game.
Yeah.
He told me about this water. So
It's
I
sparkling water, right?
no, this is spring.
It's
This
not
spring water. They
spring
got two versions,
artesian.
I think. Yeah,
Okay.
Tuscany. I hope I'm
Yeah, that's
saying it
all.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you go to the best restaurants, they give you some of this shit here.
The
When you
best.
when you go to
Yeah.
them fancy
Right.
steakhouses and shit, they give you
I think they give you that shit at Planta in Miami. Shout out to Planta.
oh yeah. I never been there.
Yeah, you gotta
But
go there. Stop.
yeah, I just I want to share y'all whatever the health experts tell me, KT, Yaki, I want to share with y'all, let y'all know.
Real quick, can I
Yeah,
segue?
yes, sir.
What? Because we were speaking about, bro made a mention about the marketing. We're speaking about the music, and I'm sure we're gonna segue to hip hop at some point. But I want to ask, what do these labels understand marketing wise, where they're like, you know what, Demon Time is hella marketable. You know what I'm saying? It's very sticky, right? And them demons
Attentive.
show support. The team is resourceful.
Can
But I think it's a
What
numbers
you
thing.
think? What you think that they know,
Look,
right?
if somebody is doing 36 million views on YouTube, these are metrics that are being looked at any label that you go to. Anytime you go to, anything dealing with the new music industry is numbers driven, it's analytics driven, impressions and everything. Rolling Loud said if we hook 100 artists who all have minimum 5 million views on YouTube, right? And that doesn't translate necessarily into followers, but they like if we put them on a flyer, right? They're going with the impression that these names, because they've been viewed 5 million times, they're going to be recognized on a flyer where they form Voltron. It's literally a musical Voltron. It harkens back to what Nas did last night with that concert because Mass Appeal and Nas are one. That's his company that did that. But then you got LL with Rock the Bells. He is a concert holder. And then you have Jay-Z with Made in America. He's a concert, these are promoters and whatnot now. These are so they're going by the fact that these people are they're just going by if 5% of these people show up, right? We're gonna be able to sell these tickets and have a successful event. And there you have it. That formula seems to work. So the formula that I see is the more the merrier, right? One of the things that I noticed with the SoundCloud, because this is the SoundCloud generation, this is the SoundCloud artists and whatnot. That's where XXX and Tashion, all of the Florida rappers, they blew up, and then Lyar took over YouTube. Migos and all of them started doing crazy numbers, right? And then that whole swag rap, trap rap, all of that shit took off, and then everything else is whatever.
We about to get into the hip hop segment,
Yes.
hip hop at 50 segment real quick. Hip hop is a force you cannot deny, you cannot ignore. It's a force that has completely transformed the youth generations, my generation, red and blue, generation before them. So we're gonna have this talk real quick about hip hop turning 50. But to segue into that, I want to play a snippet. Y'all need to be thankful for this of a track from me and Cam's new album, Holy Ghost 3.
Yes.
Never has been heard before anywhere else. This is kind of raw. If there's any kid, you could tell them to go to the bathroom. It's called Demon Time. The name of the song is called Demon Time. So this is one of the more raw records.
Right.
The album is like many different emotions. It's not just Hotepish. It's not Hotepish 12 songs in and out. It's it's different emotions. So I'm gonna just play you a snippet. This is Demon Time. So you already know what it's on. And this is a clip from a track, Holy Ghost 3, never heard before. I won't play it after this. This is just for this show and this audience, the Black Magic 363. This is where me and Cam started our music career together with on this channel.
Right.
So without further ado, this is Demon Time off of Holy Ghost 3, family.
Shit. What? Damn. Oh my God. Damn. I'm sick of life, I'm sick of death, I'm sick of getting sick, I'm sick now. Only symptom is my trigger finger itch, the innocence. Chest cold chilly is a liquid brick. Bullet flu, blow for the paper, make your tissue rip. Pistol tip, long nose running in the Vixa drip. Shot a arm, can't dodge a jab when I stick a prick. Wipe you out, MC sick enough to flip a ship. Piggy sniff, foreign sicker than the syphilis. I give a chip, I don't give a dick. The bitch is slitterous, ridiculous. Tickling the trigger like a Nicholas and hit a lick like licking licorice. And quick as licky split, I'm for the street. Sick as Jada kissing, I'm a Smith or Chris. Music, make the classic, now your kid is sick. Matt Carley, home and got the coke and I'll be Richie Rich. Satan Santa, Satan Nick, Saint Nicholas. Pray to God, trying to get a gift, I'm on the sinners list. Shoes on, white in the oven, this is Schindler's List. Mac Blue, took your crypto on 55th. Cyclical, all goes around with a spinning twist. Dizziness, train for the snakes. My watch is on demon time, I hear it ticking. Everything we're seeing now's already been predicted. Watch is on demon time, I hear it talking. World so demonic that the gods stop watching. My watch is on demon time. Every time I blink my eyes, more people die. My dream turns to nightmares, the evil kind. Open up the gates of hell and peek inside. My watch is on demon time. I feel like I'm a
All right. Shout out to Cam. Cam said the world's so demonic that the gods stop watching. Man, yeah, that's one of the raw ones on the album. So
that's that Saturn. That's for Saturday Night Live right there. That's that.
That's late night. Yeah.
And that vein right there.
Woo.
Yeah, shout out to Cambada. I seen him doing videos where he was breaking down his lyrics and inserting himself into this conversation about hip hop 50th. But let's go ahead. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. I think what's quite interesting. They came out with the report this year that nobody hit the #1 spot in hip hop, and I think Lil Uzi finally hit the #1 spot. I think people are. I think people were afraid to criticize the hip hop music that's out now because they didn't want to be called haters. But I think it has gotten so bad that I don't think nobody's afraid to criticize it. It's absolutely the worst it's ever been in the history of music. And I think the elders, the older generations coming around perform 50's concert, the clips from the final lap. You're like, oh shit, this is music. Oh, this is hip hop. We're like, oh, we forgot how good hip hop used to be. Even if you talk that straight shit, it was way better back then.
It was a class. We took for granted that they were making somewhat timeless music. You know what I'm saying? None of the stuff that we're hearing now is timeless. We don't want to hear it a year from now. And then you hearing 50 stuff and it has a 20-year age on it, and you like, damn, it aged good. You know what I'm saying? If that's your thing, if that's your music, if that's what you into, it's like, yo, it it sounds age appropriate. You know what I'm saying? It didn't lessen its value. And these
Right.
artists that are over 40 are actually performing. So their stage shows, like I've been watching the shows. They
Mhm.
got their show together finally. Like I even seen Rakim finally got his show together. I saw him for the Rock the Bells.
Right.
Like
He
it's
was in
been
his
unanimous
bag.
in hip hop that Rakim has not really had a stage show. Just like Nas don't got a stage show
Just like, yeah,
necessarily.
they said Nas the same way. Yeah.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
was in his bag last night.
He was in his bag, but Rakim was really in his bag last week.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then seeing Run DMC, right? And again, I'm let me utilize this platform to say it. I'm in full rediscovery mode of LL Cool J and his career. You know what I'm saying? Because mind you, these are nostalgic moments and periods of times for us. So I'm thinking about, where did I begin? You know what I'm saying? And these are the people that we began with, and
Mhm.
they're still here.
Right.
Yeah, we lost a lot of rappers, but I ain't really lose the niggas who, you know what I'm saying, we wasn't supposed to had lost. Like, unfortunately, some of the brothers who we lost in the game were caught up in that energy vortex. You know what I mean? Where they was kind of um personifying what happens when you start playing. The game was the game. But these other individuals didn't come in the game playing the game. They came in the game surrounded by the game, but they didn't come
Right.
in the game playing the game, and they still here today. They was around the much more dangerous elements of the game, because they were around individuals who were playing the game at a much higher
On a higher
degree.
level. Yeah, the higher level.
They didn't get entangled in the game, right? And then it really hit me like a ton of bricks, and I'm like, the things that we're looking to learn have already been taught to us. We haven't properly gone back in the lessons, you know what I'm saying, and make them and simplify them enough. We haven't done the necessary audit that's needed to be like, yo, we got all of the jewels that we need. You feel me? And we belong to a multi-trillion-dollar culture, and the shit is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's beyond beautiful, matter of fact, even with the ugly blemishes in it. You know what I'm saying? Even with, the fact that I could say we probably left $1 trillion on the table.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Even with all of that being said, there's something mystical about music that encases and encapsulate the listener and the performer. Because when these artists were hitting the stage and performing, you know what I'm saying, they didn't miss a beat, and they looked like the throwback version of themselves, with the exception of Little Kim. Then
Yeah. Yeah.
She looking a little better. Don't do that to her.
look, I was watching, they got a documentary on Netflix about women in hip hop.
Yeah.
And it's not, again, I'm speaking from the perspective of a viewer, right? Somebody
No, I
that's in the
feel you.
audience, fan of the music, that's looking. Then I could speak to the fact that I went to school with this young lady, and I remember who she was in her, you know what I mean, her original
Yo, she
phase.
49. I Googled that today. She 49, bro.
49.
Our people, yeah, she 49. Nas is 50,
I
right?
was in college.
It
She was
was
in BC.
right. I'm
But
just saying it was people up there past 50, bro.
Damn.
that's what I'm
And
trying
they
to tell
was
you.
moving and grooving.
Specifically, if you go and look at Rock the Bells, that was that all 50, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick. I mean, but this too with Snoop Dogg, Nas, Lauryn Hill is about up there, right? They had Hollywood, Melly Mel, Fat Joe, KRS One, Method
This is
Man.
Nas
You know what I'm
concert you
saying?
talking about. You said Rock the
Both.
Bells.
Look, let's say both of them. We're really
Oh, okay.
talking about individuals that are hovering on the 50-year mark, 50 plus years old,
Right.
and they're moving around the stage like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, like pop rockets. Like they got the energy to dominate Roxanne Shante. Look, I seen Sha Rock, who was the first female right, signed in the game, and
Right.
they bringing the energy to this shit like it's their first time on stage. Not in terms of the professionalism. I'm talking about the appetite. Like, yo, I got something. Yo, look, listen to my joint. Like
Right.
they rap,
It ain't the lazy
it off.
flow. They not coming out there with
Bro.
the
They rapping and performing like they trying to get on, or they're promoting a record that they just put out. You feel me? Whereas the people who are putting out records, right, are not performing to that same level of aptitude, minus maybe Drake, because people are saying he's
that he
putting on a
putting
good
on.
performance as well. You know what I'm saying? But
All
the
right.
professionalism, again, regardless of whether people don't agree with Beyonce, her music, her politics, you know what I'm saying? What she probably advocates for, you're still, as a Virgo, you're still looking at the pinnacle of
You know,
She's one of
performance.
the best. She's one of the
bro,
best. She's one
I
Yeah,
of the
was
you're
best.
at the
looking
Black Tech
at
Conference yesterday.
the
Look,
epic. Yes.
I was at the Blackest Tech Conference yesterday at the Georgia
Yes.
World Congress Center, right next to the Mercedes-Benz Theater in Atlanta. You know that the Beehive is in the building, right? You know A Baby is in town taking over the A, right?
Yeah,
So
right now.
yesterday was the first day of her concert, fam. When I tell you, like, I don't think you understand, son. That goes back to that harkens back to what I was saying, that I was trying to say about the Kai Sinet thing. It is he's giving us a glimpse of our power. He's just in a not he's one of many, but the power of the quote unquote the power that these digital influencers have, whether if they're streamers or whether if they're thought leaders or whether if they're platforms such as yours, Rich, right? He was giving away a PS5. Okay. What about the financial platform that'll give away an acre if you just show up somewhere for free? What about the platform that'll give away they're gonna be giving away a $1,000 scholarship to a child, and they say bring all of the star seeds to this location and whatnot. We taking this whole thing into our own hands. You know what I mean? Like how on some Mr. Beast type of thing. We're funding our own evolution. Same way that we're funding our own labels, that we're entering in an age right now where you were playing Holy Ghost 3, the possibilities of selling 1 million copies of that without the interference of any label or any middleman or anybody that you got to sign your life away to is really possible right now in this day and age that we're
Right.
in.
So
You feel
that's the
me?
flip side.
Oh, let me go. All right, so I just wanted to add on that I say that there's a recommended viewing to the audience of 3 concerts if you want to get your full history of this thing that they call hip hop, because I'm not under the impression. I know that there's a whole generation of people that watch this show, to watch my show, to watch a lot of shows that are in this movement that that were born in the 90s and then in the year 2000. They never heard a song from KRS-One. They never saw a Slick Rick. They never knew what Cool Herc looked like. This is things that I know people that never heard Wu-Tang. Source Guard says he said I saw the series, but I never heard the music. He was like, I didn't. There's certain catalogs that have never been heard by people who listen to all of us. And we're like, look, if you want to know how we think and what our DNA is, there's a certain catalog, there's a certain blueprint that you should go and get this music. This as connoisseurs of the culture, as curators of the culture, we have to begin to show our people this is the stuff that we listen. This is what we grew up on. This is the stuff that really fed us the eye, because it wasn't just the books and it wasn't just lectures and whatnot. We was already woke. The X Clan was feeding us. Public Enemy was feeding us. These songs, when we hear them, remember we did a show with Rich. The music is the time machine. So your experiences are attached to the music and the performer as well. But definitely the songs and definitely the music. I was reminded as soon as they started doing these concerts and whatnot, because like Rich was saying, hip hop was waning and whatnot, and people were breaking out of that. and they were like, you know what, this thing is just garbage. It's nothing worth, And then the concert started picking up because the 50th was coming around. The first one was the BET Awards, right? They did what they could do. Everybody was dressed in Canal Street designer and whatnot. They put in the OGs and what I'm saying, and Dior, but but they represented. They gave them what they could. Then the Essence Fest came, and that's a great display. I recommend y'all go and watch the Essence Fest in its entirety. They put on for hip hop for 3 days. The South is a powerful, they got something to say. Their contribution to this culture sometimes is overlooked and whatnot. They put on a beautiful display. The West with Ice Cube and the combination with Cube and Dre and Snoop and everything. It's beautiful. It's part of our history. You know what I mean? It brings back memories. Then, like Blue Pill said, rock the bells. And then you had last night the Yankee Stadium 50th anniversary put on by Mass Appeal and my good brother Nasir Jones, who, some would say that, he is on his, he's on his third quote unquote life
Third run,
or whatever.
right.
His third run, his third, you know what I mean? He's been
the third leg of
his third leg of his
Oh,
career. You feel me? Of his legacy and whatnot.
And
Making him definitely one of the greatest to do this, right? So he put together a collaboration of not every single artist in the world, because I see people pointing out who wasn't there. And I said, look, it was an 8-hour concert. Hip hop is a very humongous culture. It's 50 years expansion. There's a lot of players in this video game and whatnot. You can't get them all in one concert.
yeah.
But who he did put together was a nice combination of different sounds, different eras, definitely different, I would say performance, performance styles and whatnot. Some people were heavy on the performance, and some people were not known to be heavy on the performance. But their music and what they represent and whatnot is good that it was on that stage. So because it was very well balanced. One of the standouts performers of the night that I thought understood the assignment and definitely, he just showed you why he's an icon is Snoop Dogg.
Mm,
His set was monumental.
mm.
His set
Crazy.
he understood. If more of the legends were putting their sets together like that, it would have just been more iconic. You feel me? Because this is the concert of the bring out. You know what I mean? You supposed is you on a ticket, but this is hip hop. You know what I mean? If they had something in Jamaica, if the reggae dudes, they bring it out, you know how they do. Man, bring out my. So I wanted to see more of that, but Snoop brought out
Put the hood
he
out.
brought out
Ooh.
EPMD.
Mm.
Feel me? He brought out EPMD, introducing EPMD to a whole new audience around the world and whatnot, stamping them like, yo, these are my guys right here. You feel me? Then he brought out Flo Millie and whatnot. I heard about her. This is the first time seeing her performing. He brought Short Dog out. He brought the girl Scarlett out. You know what I'm saying? Then who else was it? He brought Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. Oh my God.
And Dougie did a
Now,
10-minute beatbox.
He did 50. Remember, it's the 50th year. He was doing 50.
Oh.
Yeah, that was 50. That's why he was counting it on his fingers. People may not know. Once again, that's why I'm saying it's important that these people are getting stamped and they just not on the stage by themselves. I rather big stars like Snoop bring out these lesser known artists to audiences of generations that come later and whatnot than them just saying, yo, we got Slick Rick coming out and he coming out with the wild big chain swinging and whatnot. Dudes is like, who's that?
Mm.
Who's Unc with his chain and whatnot? Who Unc? But now Snoop does the remake of the song. Like, oh, I thought Lottie, people, I didn't know that was okay. And then Son comes out and he reminds them, look, this is Slick Rick. This is Lottie Dottie. This is I remember you lived in Harlem. You a Harlemite, Rich. So remember 83.
they locked 2 summers down with Lottie Dottie in the show. It was Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh together. You feel me? That was a combination we didn't know that we needed.
No, I don't. I couldn't even. I could barely walk. I could barely walk, man. I
Don't do that, dude.
I could barely walk, bro. You
I
put
thought
me.
somebody would have told you and shit.
No,
But
man.
yeah, Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh was the hottest thing in New York, especially in Harlem and whatnot. That's when the rooftop, and that's when Harlem World was popping. And these are like, this is when this is that party shit. This is what the youngsters are doing now with their version of party shit. That was our version. The Pee Wee dance, remember?
Yeah.
We had that's what I wish that they would do that more, because there's a lot of dudes that's coming out with the murder, kill, you know. Last night I seen grandmothers in the audience at Yankee Stadium, and they was getting shots.
Facts.
Because they didn't know that they was coming to a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? They was like, I'm coming to see Run DMC. They had to make it through Cameron. They had to make it through a little bit of Wheezy and shit. Some Trina. She was like, eat this cat. Yeah. You know, it was all of that. Remy Ma had me feeling like she was gonna clap her. She was in her bag, yo. She was in her bag. She had
the expletive button on. I'm like, damn, shorty.
Yeah,
like, your shit ain't backstage. Like, come on.
She from the Bronx, bro.
She tapped into her. She had a quarter water before she came out, my nigga. She tapped all the way into her Bronx.
Y'all know New York. Anybody watching New York woman is just different overall. New York woman is totally different. Y'all be seeing the skits online.
Henrietta Lacks, my nigga, is different DNA.
Bro, the DNA.
Different. Yeah, Henrietta Lacks.
Bro.
They built differently. We can't explain it.
Bro, they talk more slang than you. It was good, son. Son,
boy. Yeah.
Man, nah, New York woman is son, boy. Love y'all, but y'all something else, man. Y'all are something else.
They gave them record deals, yeah.
You know what you made me think about real quick, Red. When you said music being a time machine. This was like a month ago, sometime early this year. I made a decision. Remember when the thing went down with R. Kelly, and they had the show that came out on Lifetime, and everybody was canceling R. Kelly.
Right.
I'm like, this dude is a straight monster. Right. And people were deciding whether they want to take his music off the streaming, they want to play his music anymore. So I heard the song. He got a song called "The World's Greatest." I'm that star up in the sky. I'm the greatest. So that song is connected to me. And when you said time machine, my mom played it. She did like her kids. She was a Montessori teacher, and the children had a play. So she played it for the play. And I remember her just thinking about it. I could smell her smell right now.
Right.
Thinking about it, I could smell her smell. Right. She used to be in the living room in the projects, practicing, rehearsing, dancing, and I could smell her smell just thinking about it.
Right.
And I said, damn, I'm not canceling this song. I'm not going to stop listening to this R. Kelly song because of what happened. This song, it does something for me that nothing else in the world could do in terms of a memory with my mom. And I played it at her funeral. My mom's passed away when I was 25. I played it at her funeral. So music is so powerful. I almost have to disconnect the artist from the art that's coming through God. Like me and Cam Body did a song, God is the music and we're the radio. So it's like R. Kelly was that radio playing some of God's finest music. He's one of the finest R&B stars ever, regardless of what happened. And I have to accept that, but I have to understand his avatar did some devastating, sick shit. But his music is godly, bro. And I'm not giving that away, bro. It's tied too much to me. I'm not. So I made that decision early this year.
It even speaks to the glaring omissions, in the hip hop 50. They're not mentioning Africa Bambaataa. They're not mentioning Russell Simmons.
Wow.
They're not mentioning the people. And I watched Fresh Grooves the other day. And as I'm looking at LL and I'm looking at Run DMC, close these events, and I'm still trying to figure out Beastie Boys. That's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Yo.
But hold on. With all that being said, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're telling the story and just speaking about Cool Herc. You know what I mean? We're not speaking about the other people who were so instrumental that if you remove them, you remove the whole story. I'm just finding out about DJ Mario. There's so many names. Like I said, I just found out about Rock. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting a very thorough hip hop education in a culture that I consider myself a lifetime member of. But I also I can't not hear Planet Rock. I cannot exclude the contributions that was made by Zulu Nation and Africa Bambaataa, especially as it pertains around the identity factor, the fact that he still kept the torch lit for the fifth pillar of hip hop being,
Consciousness.
knowledge,
Right.
consciousness. I can't see KRS One and not acknowledge, what I mean, the things that was so magnetic about the art form that was appealing to us as children, because it still spoke. These are the conversations I was having in my household with my parents, my father in particular. So yeah, those time capsules, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing that I can do. I cannot erase or eradicate something that
Yeah,
is part of my DNA um
yeah,
thread. You feel me?
yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, music could do that to you. It's very interesting. I think Blue Pill put up one of the most interesting posts on Instagram I've seen ever, where he showed how reality is created by sound, and
Right. Somatics.
yes, I with
Right.
cymatics, and it
Somatics.
was absolutely mind blowing
Wasn't it?
the way they put it. Yeah, the way they put it together. So yeah, sound music. This shit is everything, and that's why we have to continuously talk about music and not let anybody take over our culture. You know what I'm saying? And actually transform our culture. But in
I'm
terms of yeah, go ahead,
no,
right?
no, go ahead. What I wanted to say is that in terms of music, right? We I feel that the conversation needs to be had, about solidifying, our quote unquote our footprints in that music and whatnot,
Mhm,
because we're not attached to the labels, and because we're not attached to the machine, and because the majority of the people that we're seeing them put in front of us are part of a corporate business model, right? And they omit those who are not a part of that business model in the conversation of 50 years and its impact. And I'm here to say that at least 10 years in my life, I was heavily impacted by artists who were not signed to no goddamn label and don't belong to a Def Jam roster, and they're not on these playlists. You feel
mhm,
me? The music that you made, the music that AA made, starting from Batman Mafia, the music that me and Blue was making, the music that was coming across on More Fire Fridays on Blog Talk, the music that the brother in Canaan was making, Iron Sheik, the music that Rock started making with Soul Messiah. When I came across Cambada's catalog, the shit that he did to my mind and how he helped me and my transformation and all of this music was our soundtrack, right? This is the real underground. If you really want to keep it a buck, right? That there is an underground, but this is truly the underground, because you really have to be in the know to know who these artists are and whatnot. You feel me? So I just want to make sure that no, we are the next 50, but they're still a part of, the 50 that we already see, that we have to hail up and we have to say these names. Even on my Instagram, I put my top 10 God Hop albums, because I'm like, yo, I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna let it be known. So that comes with the curation of the culture, right?
mhm.
Nas is curating the culture by doing what he's doing. LL Cool J is curating the culture. He's being a curator of the culture, the lineup of the whole list. That's curated culture, bro. He's having a conversation just with the lineup. You feel me? So, like Blue Pill said, what these concerts are showing us is that the culture is marketable. It's not an age on it. It's not, you can't dismiss the elders anymore. They showed you what their performance is, because hip hop is a performance art. And MC, master of the ceremony, Master of the ceremony, not rapper. It's two different things. So there's some people out here that don't even qualify to even be quote unquote MCs and whatnot. They're just rappers. And it shows at Rolling Loud, and it shows at some of these other venues and whatnot, the stark contrast to what Jada Kiss and them are doing, to what Busta Rhymes is doing, to what Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, it was like he was having another conversation while he was rapping. Did you see Lil Wayne's control? As much as I could say what I could say about him, right?
He's a performer. He is a performer.
Son is in his perform. T.I. is in his performance bag. T.I. his shit is laser. You feel me? The two awards for the most disrespect of the night goes to motherfucking Cameron, right? Who was like, yo, they try to cut my mic off, man. Fuck that. They're gonna have to turn it off and went into Suck It or Not. Right? Right? Yeah. And this is a Nas event. And you remember the history, right? He ain't even apologized to Nas. And then the second disrespect, that was the biggest disrespect I feel in all of hip hop, was what KRS-One came out and did. Egregious, bro. He didn't have to do that.
What did he do?
He was hopping around with a smile on his face. He did the Bridges Over on the Queens niggas card, bro. Talk back to me.
But did it in an aggressive way where it was lingering backstage beef happening, because this conversation about who's closing the show, Queens niggas in Bronx, let's settle this beef once and for all. And it's like, but a stage of that magnitude for a homie like Nas, you have to understand. And this is the hip hop martial arts story. The hip hop martial arts story is like, you grow up to be the nigga who beats your teacher, right? So think about Queensbridge and all of the artists that came out in Queensbridge after the bridge is over. You had to be a supernatural rhyming nigga, right? So the onus that you had to put on yourself to be great now to come out of Queens, because you was buried alive by a nigga named KRS-One who came out of the Bronx,
the group home,
your whole projects in your whole borough where you feel like you cheeks, but
with the reggae flow,
like you knock a leader off and then you martyr him and you spawn 100 versions of him. That's what KRS-One did. Queens artists, right? He spawned a resurgence of these niggas that if you look at it now, look how they are curating the culture. Let's run through it. Russell did it first, right? Because think about all of the people that was birthed from that branch and that tree. We talking Def Jam Comedy, Def Poetry, and the rest of them, right? LL, right? Rock the Bells as a radio station and now as a concert venue to catalog 50 years in hip hop, right? And then he has a tour series called Force, right? Nas with Mass Appeal, right? And him cataloging and creating a moving mixtape, because that's what that
mad documentaries. Yeah,
mad
documentaries.
See us back here next year, it's gonna be even bigger. So you already know that. You know what I'm saying? Nori with Drink Champs, curating the culture.
Right.
You feel me? I feel like I'm missing
money.
Right? 50 with what he's doing in terms of curating, cataloging the culture for hustlers in New York City from the 80s era, right? With Power being a spin-off of them stories, right?
Right.
KRS-One, I believe he may be curating the hip hop museum to a degree. You know what I mean? But the Queens dudes not only got to the money, you know what I mean? They put themselves in positions where they are now permanently curators. They're going to get the last say and sign off on the culture. You know what I mean? All of this is a direct response to the pressure that he put on that borough. They had to produce diamonds. So for it to come full circle at Yankee Stadium, but at a concert that the little homie put together, and he himself got beef with Shan, I'm like, come on, son.
Right.
I don't know the politics, because obviously they came outside late. there's something going on in the backdrop that we obviously don't know about. They would Bronx feel like the BX feel like they really needed to assert themselves on that stage that night. And yeah,
Fat Joe
Fat
had
Joe,
his top off. Yeah.
yeah, they was
Fat
stunting.
Joe had his top. He came for violence. You know what I
They was,
mean? Fat
they
Joe came
was,
for
they was
violence. You know?
I seen J. Cole say, get rich or die trying. I think he said
Better
it's
than Thriller.
better than Thriller.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
just,
So yeah,
once again,
Is it, would you consider it
different.
top 5 of all time hip hop? Get rich or die trying? Or top 10? Top 5 or top 10?
um again,
Oh,
Get rich or die trying. Now,
I didn't have that in my top 10.
okay.
this is me and
I
my
didn't
P
have
more
it.
right. I'm digging because I also was going back to my archive with my hip hop journalism. When I was
Yeah, that
reporting
shit was fire, Blue.
as a hip hop reporter, I was reporting as a journalist, and I didn't always report as as blue pill. You feel me? Like, do you have the ability to appreciate the art form and make these critiques without always putting yourself in the center of it and personalize it? It's like
Right.
the music today. Are they making the music for you, nigga? Like you taking it so personal, but are they making it for you? Are you a
Yeah.
teenager? Part of
You're
the
not
demographic?
17, nigga.
You're
Yeah,
not.
you're
So
not
stop
even part of
taking it
different.
personal, right? Make an
Right.
observation from the sideline where you belong in this conversation. I do feel like in the pantheon of hip hop and what them albums represented, that you definitely would have to say Get Rich or Die Trying is amongst the five in terms of it being a paradigm shifting, genre changing album that set a precedent that was unprecedented and moved multiple metrics in the music that had not been seen or done at that time, coupled with the fact that you're looking at somebody who in real life was going against adversarial forces to come up as an underdog. Hell yeah. You have to.
Well, then does Kanye West album go in that top 5 as well?
Which one?
The first one.
Not,
I will put
not
I
The
will
first
put
one was more impactful because that was the introduction to that new sound, the new all of that. The second one and the trilogy was fire, but the first one was heavily impactful, right?
yeah, as a paradigm shifter. Yeah, I mean the first one because that was
But you
total
said
paradigm.
shifter,
It was
right?
a
So
it came out of nowhere and shifted everything.
and it gave birth to the J. Cole's of the
A
world, the
genre,
Lupe's of
yeah,
the world, right? It gave birth to a whole nother genre.
yes,
So
yeah, I would, yeah, yeah.
I do agree with you with the whole top 10. I would have to reanalyze my top 10. I might be able to remove one and
I
put
said
Get
top
Rich or
five.
Die.
I didn't say
Oh
top.
shit, this nigga said top 5.
That's the
Yeah, I
correct.
would have to re-examine my top 5.
He said top five. Um, again, I have my personal favorites, and then I have the critique that I have to make as a journalist of you know what I'm saying, a curator of the culture and media, right? And me
Right.
remembering that time, I was outside when Get
I
Rich or
was
Die. I was outside in media, you know,
Woo! Right. Yeah, it
covering
was a fucking
the
buzz.
environment of that time. That it
Right,
was unreal, bro. The
right.
magnitude of that was unreal. And then the ancillary stories that were going on at the same time of the stuff that was popping off to try to stop him. From
Right.
Bangum Smurf to Irv Gotti to this and we would to Jam Master Jay because I was on the scene for his killing. You know what I'm saying? And they was trying to throw everybody's hat in the ring. Like, I mean, they name in the ring. There was so much going on, bro. That he had to pretty much rise triumphantly through. So to see him 20 years later on stage with that level of not only did he make it, but he made it at this level, and his performance is so seamless.
He
You know what I'm saying?
checkmated niggas. Yeah,
Like,
he
yeah,
checkmated. He checkmated his foes.
like when he got into the game, even though people were making these observations of him, like they was very professional in terms of, you know, we got to put this show on of this particular magnitude. We got to perform at this level. That's how they were showing up. You feel me?
yeah,
And
I just
this a nigga who don't smoke or drink.
remember Blue. like when Red made the references to I think Slick Rick in '83 or something. I wasn't, obviously I'm just coming into this realm, so I'm not I don't know too much about that. But what I do know, I have knowledge of the late '80s, '90s, 2000s when music was real good. And
Right.
I've never seen anything in my life. Two things I never seen. I never seen anybody perform and have the power that Michael Jackson had. Never seen nothing like that. That was like
Right.
one of the most spiritual experience you could see. One man harness
Not
that much
here.
power. The second thing that was unbelievable, out of all the rappers, I didn't seen Pac, I didn't seen Big, all of them. I've never seen nothing hit the scene like In the Club. When 50 Cent came with In the Club, I ain't seen nothing like that.
Damn.
People, I'm the energy surrounding that record. I've never
Yeah.
to this
Damn.
day R&B any
And we was
genre.
look.
I've never
We
seen nothing like when In the Club hit. I ain't never
Me and
seen
Blue
nothing
was
like that
promoters at Cheetah, Rich.
ever,
We were
ever, ever, ever.
promoters at look, we had to endure that shit. We were promoters at Cheetah, and I think we had another night somewhere else. And we was outside every other night. Rich, top five because of impact.
Mm.
I agree. Top five. I'm gonna reshuffle my deck. It's the impact. Remember, because keep in mind, we still have to have the conversation about it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. Right? These legacy artists are solidifying and this shit is it's an organic thing. You could go from 10 to 1 if you play your cards right and whatnot, because this is ultimately about immortalizing from man to immortal. That's what the religion of hip hop is. Black taught us about the religion of hip hop, where man becomes immortalized. Remember, we are here to do what? To immortalize ourselves so we don't gotta come back, right? Thug Immortal, Tupac showed you that you immortalize yourself through the arts and the sciences, right? So hip hop is a genre that was created, it's a divination system. Black Dot gave us the science on how people in these desolate, burnt down, dystopian environments, right? DNA responds to environments, the dystopian environments and the blackout, right? The blackout caused the quote unquote them to run down and get what it is that they needed. You feel me? Because it was
Yeah.
taken out of
So
the
let me just add on to that. 1977, they had a blackout in New York, and this blackout allowed hip hop to get a quantum leap,
right
meaning that during the blackouts, they hit the stores up, right, for for equipment,
technology. Yeah, but
for
for
technology,
technology,
right? So they were now able to make these quantum leaps that um right before that there was a barrier to entry based on bread, right? Yo, the
right?
SPs cost this, you know what I'm
Studio
saying? The
session,
SPs cost this, the studios cost that. Now
right?
you got an in-house studio, you feel me, for the free
Beat
99,
maker,
and it's
right?
now it's just between you, your talent, and God. And these niggas showed up and showed out, and as a result, right, that return on that investment, you feel me, was $1 trillion return
Whew,
Mm.
that was a head crack for
out of
sure.
darkness, out of triple stages of darkness in 1977.
Right, because
You
they
feel me?
attribute that blackout to part of the birthing cycle of hip hop. There's nothing, you can't remove that from the equation. That blossom out of the darkness, this culture was blossoming. It was born because we got to eat. You feel me? Because we got what they would take, what we
So,
needed.
again, man, I just want to reiterate, LL Cool J was 16 when he wrote Radio and I Need Love and all of that. 17 when he's already signed to Def Jam and now is out here performing, you know what I'm saying, hitting stages, and these dudes is doing arenas. Like you was just in your 4-room wall
Right,
apartment writing
right,
poetry. That's all they was
right.
calling it back then.
They didn't
You know
do
what
the
I'm saying?
chitlin circuit. They didn't have to start out like that.
So, right. I had wrote a piece, it was very lengthy. And I said that hip hop was a referendum on integration. And this goes into my, very longer dissertation about what led up to hip hop and me putting things into perspective that the Civil Rights Act happens in 1964. King gets assassinated in 1968. You know what I'm saying? 1970s come, you got Vietnam, you got Nixon come, who makes black capitalism a thing to subvert what's considered to be the remnants of the revolution, right?
Right.
This is the same thing they're speaking about in Dear Mama, right?
Right.
The same thing when they hit them with that indictment, the people fled the other way, and then the hustlers moved in and started picking up the scraps. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
the integration thing, because the if King said we got integrated into a burning house, that burning house did not stop simmering and burning until about 1972 or 1973, right? So again, Nixon comes in with the capitalism, the black capitalism, and now getting that money becomes the aspirational thing to do, because you like, oh, I could cross the street now, go over there to Shay Whitey's crib. I could shop where he shop. Oh, this color TV that I used to have to look at, get your shit together. The color TV I used to look at outside of the window. Now I could go inside of the house. So what did this table is burning? I'm gonna wipe it off. So what the you know the silverware and everything got smoldering, but I'm gonna make it shiny again, right? So then the integration of melanin aspirations into the mix, where we have all of these aspirations based on the commercials and the marketing that was being done to us. Now we get to touch some bread. Here come crack cocaine. And then hip hop is in the mix of all of that. Hip hop becomes the vehicle that now you are expressing how you get properly integrated into an integrated society. White folks get to take the safari double dutch through the jungle or the safari to look and see what niggas do up close and personal. Or we could smell the smoke of the smoldering fire and we're not getting burnt. That's what they like to do. That's what hip hop afforded them. As melanated people, you could fornicate with white women without swinging from branches. That's what you got, right? And the trade-off was to come up. Oh, we get to buy shit. We feel like we so free. What else changed?
Not a thing.
What else changed?
The buildings are
And,
still burning.
yeah, so yeah, we got to show our ass. We got to give them some of this ass and some of this fashion and everything, right? We got to spend our money on their shit to stunt. Like, yeah, son, look, I got this Kango, this furry with this polo with the nigga. So
the game is to be right. The game is to be sold, and niggas sold it for cheaper than the
hustlers. You a customer, yeah. In the presence of hustlers, you a customer, and that's your flex, right? But I mean, still saying all that to say, you know, I love it. This is the trade-off, and we were already in a position of, you know, we're not responsible for integration. We made the best of what we was given. You know what I'm saying? But if we change the perspective of how we look at this thing, then we could finally see it for what it is, and we could approach it different. And the sting and the burn wouldn't feel so bad if we understood what the trade-off was. You feel me?
I got to get out of here. I got to run. So I want to thank y'all for coming on tonight. I mean, a powerful show. We could have this hip hop conversation for 5 more hours. This is one of them talks that you could be on the show all night. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I just want to leave one comment before I leave, and if Red and Blue want to touch on it. Yes. The thing I want to touch on is the fact that what I find interesting is the fact that when you look back at Big and Pac, and you look back now at Big and Pac and what they were doing and what they represented, and you looked at the force that we call Tupac Amaru Shakur and Christopher Wallace, we forget that they were 23 and 24. When you look at 23 and 24 years old now, they the goofiest niggas on the face of the earth. We treated these brothers like they were 40-year-old mature men who experienced life. Now these was kids. These dudes was 23. Right. And when you look at all the 20, what happened to 23-year-olds where they act like they 15 now. They act like they 16. These dudes 23, 24, these dudes was grown, making big moves, had control of the entire coast, whole coast, West Coast, whole East Coast, and they're 23. And we can look back at that now because we're older now. We're like, yo, hold up. Pac talk like that at 22, 23. I just find that quite fascinating. That's another reason to say that how magnificent those two souls were who graced this stage and who graced this realm. Shout out, rest in power to Christopher Wallace and Tupac Amon for
Can I
Shakur.
share some
Yes, and I'm
about why they were who they were?
yes.
So they were considered of the generation of the man child, right? And because they come from the generation, Pac born in the Bronx, Biggie in Brooklyn, of the burning buildings, of poverty, of roaches, of rats, of getting jumped, of getting chased down and whatnot, they matured and they evolved faster. The newer generation, fortunately, doesn't have to go through the same things because their parents and society and the environments begin to change. I was saying the other day, I was like, damn, I don't see roaches no more. What's that about? You know what I mean? I see water bugs in Atlanta, but I was like, I've been traveling around and shit, and I'm in these Airbnbs, and I'm like, where the fuck is the roaches at? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Things have changed. They've gotten a lot more, you know, like we don't have to run from cabs when we get out of them anymore. We got Uber and whatnot. The younger generation, they're coming out for PS5s and whatnot. You know what I mean? They're built different. These children, these streamers and whatnot are gods. Kai Cenat came down from the clouds. That was a religious experience for some of these streamers who you don't see these people in the flesh. You only see them in the clouds and whatnot. They're anomalies in a sense. You don't even see these dudes in airports. Even with some of these rappers, you're not supposed to see the rapper until you come out on stage. New rule. I don't want to see y'all niggas until it's time to come out on Rock the Bells or some of these other things. It just hit differently.
Right.
The mystique. So they are of a different generation. They made us, it matured us faster.
You said the man-child generation. That was deep.
They are called a man-child. I was just talking to my 3-year-old today, and I was saying, yo, stop trying to grow up so fast.
Tell my son that.
You're gonna, y'all say you want to be with me and your mother on our level and whatnot, and you're going past. You're not respecting what you got right here. Yeah. I'm like, yo, experience this shit right here. Yeah. You want to do everything we doing. These children are different, but you got to tell them, don't forsake your childhood to try to be boss baby. Because that's what we're dealing with right now. This is the era of boss baby.
No, that's fact.
They different. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Watch and see the next 5 years. So the Man Child in the Promised Land. Thank you for putting that out there, C Diggs. That is a book. That is a great read. Check out Man Child in the Promised Land. Check out Latchkey. Go and do your research on the Latchkey generations and whatnot. You know, just get a better understanding. The music, those artists that you see coming out like Melly Mel, those artists that you see coming out like Grandmaster Flash, Grandmaster Cass, Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh, all of those artists, listen to the lyrics. And some people like reading the lyrics. Go on a playlist journey and listen to our foundation, Cool G Rap, DJ Hollywood. You remember that song that when Snoop brought him on?
Yeah.
That's the gangster song. That's the shit that the real Rich. You got to see the concert, right? That shit is classic. You got to see that shit. It's classic. It's classic hip hop. It could be more. Look, Jay-Z now, because they said Jay-Z did a show in the library and Nas did a show for the people, right? This should show you how your boy thinks. But he got a Billy and he canceled MIA, Made in America. But there's so many other quality that you know, the art shit is immense. Hip hop is fucking regardless. We know the CIA, we know all of this stuff, but what we're talking about is the mystical aspect, the memories. Can't take that away. I define the music, bro. I interpret it. I'm the alchemist. You know what I'm talking about? So my growth and my development are attached to mixtapes, albums, CDs, cassettes, vinyl, all of that. You name it. This is the concert that Jay-Z should put on. There will be twin to Nas's. You got Jay-Z, Ye, Rihanna, Drake, Beyonce, with Destiny Child, Diddy, Dr. Dre, Jermaine Dupri, Mary J, Faith Evans, Timbaland, Swiss Beats, Pete Rock, Pharrell, Premier, Rakim, Kane, LL Cool J, Latifah, DJ Khaled, 21 Savage, Meek Mill, Cash Money, No Limit, Griselda, Locks, Fabulous, Yo Gotti, and CMG. which is Glorilla, Moneybag Yo, Black Youngster, Future, Little Baby, Little Durk. That's just to show y'all. Those are the people that wasn't at Yankee Stadium. That's just to show you how deep the culture is. Yes, and Nas didn't bring out AZ. I didn't like that.
Mm.
He didn't bring out
Look,
Cormega.
hold
I
on.
didn't like that. He didn't bring out Foxy. I didn't like that.
Mm.
Hamilton say rest in peace, Prodigy. I didn't like that.
Prodigy. I didn't like that.
I didn't like that.
So there's some
Mm.
things that, you know, whatever.
There was a lot of omissions. Feel me?
A lot of omissions. And the fact that
Wow.
that Bambaataa has been omitted from the whole entire conversation is spooky.
Yeah.
They don't say his name, bro, on some Akhenaten shit. If they didn't say your name during the whole 50, then don't say the fact. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you can't say it after the 50.
Can't say it after, bro. So that's an observation about omitting in the culture and how you could be removed from your whole legacy, fam. That's crazy. But go ahead.
Blue, any thoughts to close out the show, Blue?
As bro reiterated, you know, this was the man-child era. They grew up different, and yeah, it's just, you know, it's a plethora of them. It's not just Biggie and Nas, like I said, Rakim, not, you know, I mean Biggie and Pac. It was Nas, it was Rakim, it was EP, you know, all of these dudes were 17, 18, 19, you know what I mean, having grown folk conversation. But the, you know, majority of children were children back then. You ain't find too many people who wasn't semi-grown, you know what I'm saying, or at least a grown conversation, or had access to an older brother, cousin, or somebody in the neighborhood that can pull your coat to what the conversation was being had if it was going over your head, you know. So I think what we're dealing with today is indicative and evident of the breakdown of the family structure, you know what I mean, of the big homie family structure. There's this, you know, I mean, we grew up, there was Big Brother, reach outreach programs, Big Brother, Big Sister, and all of that stuff. You know, ain't doing none of that no more. So,
Right.
you know, the children are obviously suffering, and yeah, you know, hopefully this demonstration in year 50, because year 50 officially started. So hopefully this entire year we'll be getting concerts, educations, and cross collaborative projects. I want to see the younger generation, you know, adopt a OG, or OG adopt a young gun as a mentee. You know what I'm saying? These are the only things that's going to change where we're at right now, because we're already too far ahead. You know what I mean? There has to be some outreach, some coupling taking place. You jump on this person's track, you bring homie out on tour with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to unionize hip hop the same way that Hollywood is marching right now.
Yep.
We need to unionize hip hop with the artists. We need to put the record labels on the ropes, because the artists got the same issue with AI. Why they not moving? Because they not unionized. You know what I'm saying? They need to unionize these record labels around the health, right? Around benefits, in terms of
Coogee
these
Rap's supposed to have teeth, yo.
yeah,
That's what I'm
Coogee
saying.
Rap keeps like the health benefits and things that these artists are gonna need in their post 50 world. That's the stuff we need to unionize around, collectively around, to push this particular agenda. And then if you unionize them, you know what I mean, they need contract rights. Those contracts need to get revisited. We need to put an agency in place that can audit all of these old contracts, not necessarily the contracts, but the royalties, to find out where these dudes' money's at.
Right.
Like, and you could probably automate this stuff. Like, a lot of this stuff can probably get dealt with AI. So that's probably, you know, my thoughts about
Definitely moving forward, right? In the next 50, you know, we need to see a complete total shift in the way business is done, and the royalties that artists are receiving. They should be receiving more than 0.1. They should be receiving more than 2 cents off of a $20 sale. They should be receiving more than $2. right? So moving forward with the new technology and the new tools that are available, you are going to see multimillionaires being made without the use of any label. That's what the next 50 is going to be about. And the next 50 is also going to be about a higher frequency and something that's going to mimic what the golden era, the frequency that the golden era emits, right? Something is going to come along and it's going to mimic and feel something like that. It's a feeling first and foremost, and it's also like a soundtrack. So that is going to definitely come. They said that the labels are running away from the gangster, the gang affiliated rap, and they're running away from the murder rap. That was given to me by somebody who is deep in the industry. He said the labels are looking for artists who are not on that shit no more because they're running away from that because of what this whole this Young Thug shit is gonna set precedents. Not just Young Thug, but everything that's going on in Atlanta. Remember, Fannie, who is the prosecutor, is going after Trump. That is this is her major play. When if she takes down Trump and then she decides that she's gonna come back with Rico and whatnot, she cleaning up the whole hip hop. She's on a political run right now. They're looking at her and Kamala in the future. But she's going after Trump. You know what I'm talking about? That even makes that case against Thug even stronger. But Trump threw a card at him. He threw a get out of jail free card and showed Thug, if you could prove that she had an affair with the dude that they say that you accused of killing, boom, your ass is gonna walk you're gonna walk like they say that you finna walk. Them goats is niggas is working them goats for Jeffrey. They working them goats for Jeffrey. I'm just here to let y'all know, if y'all don't know about the scene down here, you know what I'm talking about. You'll find out if you come out here. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, definitely. I want to like I said, man, a conversation like this, we could talk for hours and hours.
Yes.
I will say this. I was listening to, and I should just end it. I shouldn't say this because I don't want to, spark another 20-minute debate. But one of the most disappointing things I've been through in hip hop, man. I was listening to Jay Electronica Exhibit C. Yeah, I see Blue laughing already. I was listening to Jay Electronica Exhibit C, and I said to myself, "Wow, this is absolutely incredible." It's so disappointed that he never dropped the album during when he was hot.
At his height.
I think he waited 10 years to drop that album. And that record was so phenomenal. And I remember how the industry was all a buzz. To this day, I don't know if he got paid. I don't know what happened. I don't know how his album got delayed a decade.
Yo,
bro.
I think Exhibit C was the beginning of the woke era.
Yeah, that's a wow.
It was a beginning of a pivot. And the woke era kind of was blossoming.
Consolidation of consciousness post Wu-Tang in a lyrical format up to date where we at presently. That was Exhibit C. They had not heard that conversation in that rhythmic pattern like that since the 90s.
I can see why you say that, Blue. Okay,
And
that's a good point, Blue. Okay,
it was Twitter rap. Twitter was the one that took it and carried it into the corridors where niggas who had been exposed to consciousness in the 90s was now introducing it to their friends who was always Christian, just woke up into some level of quote unquote consciousness, and then they created a war because these were people.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you think Jay-Z put him on ice? I see people saying that. Do you think Jay-Z like kind of shut him down? Like, nah, you can't come out. Do you think, or you think that's just
he said that he was pushing him?
Yeah, I mean, they said Jay-Z was one of his biggest advocates. That's why he signed him and put him in position. You just don't sign a person and throw him out. I think that he put him out when the time was right. But as we saw with the project, I think Jay-Z really saw it as a pet project, because I've been telling people forever and a day that Jay-Z has always wanted to be a woke artist or a conscious artist that deals with the themes that he can't do it on his own. So he had to use Kanye as a shield, and then he really had to go to an extreme and use Jay Electronica. Remember, he was spawned in action by them denouncing him in 2014 during the Don Sterling incident. Right before the Don Sterling incident, he gets caught courtside at a Nets game with a 5% chain on. April 6, 2014, New York Post
Oh,
posted the
5% chain,
article
yeah.
and said, "Yo, is Jay-Z down with a black supremacist, you know what I'm saying, white man is a devil group?" He gifted that same chain to Jay Electronica
Yeah.
at that Brooklyn concert. But when he got on his album, he was on his God Body shit. Jay-Z more so than Jay Electronica on that album. That was Jay-Z's I'm Coming Out Conscious album. He went harder consciously on that album that he did on 444. 444 was his woke album. Jay Electronica's album was his conscious street album. That was his conscious mixtape.
Interesting.
Blue know his shit, yo. Blue
Yeah,
know
I
his shit.
remember. Yeah. I remember when Wesley was running with JLX
Jay
and they
like,
was
yeah.
linking up.
What's the
Yeah, and
mom?
they was that was 2014, 15, and whatnot. And JLX was hot, and like you said, Rich, it was one. It's one of the in the history of hip hop. It's one of those things where it's like, damn, homie, you know what I mean? You didn't read the room, fam. I don't want to hear it. We could get into a million conspiracies, but the fact that he did not drop in 2012, nah,
That's when it came
not
out.
cipher.
That's when
No, I'm
Exhibit.
just saying he was hot in 2010. He was that 2012 nigga. He was the one that was going to the pyramids, getting, you know what I mean, meditating and everything. He had a buzz.
He was going through it, but you know what I mean. Remember he was getting passed around in terms of who was going to work with him to
Bidding
open that
war,
door,
yeah.
right? So
Remember, he
Diddy
had
grabbed
Diddy on him first.
horse,
Then he
yeah.
got with Nas and started ghostwriting with Nas,
He
right?
was ghostwriting
Diddy,
with Nas.
yeah. He
Around
opens
the
up.
time, yeah, that
Mhm.
album. I forgot what Nas album it was, but he because remember Jay Electronica produces as well. So he
Right.
was doing production on Nas' album, and Nas was trying to find a way that he can
Fit him
interject and
in.
introduce him. Everybody was trying to figure out how to introduce him and then ultimately how to package and present him. Remember,
Yeah.
I
He
think
got
it
to
was
be the one to pack out academics too, by the way.
yeah,
Sidebar.
the,
He got to
the,
be the one to pack them out.
yeah, he got to pack him out. The
Damn, yeah.
stuff that ultimately the album that ultimately ends up becoming the one he puts out with Jay, he said that that was on a spur. Like he said, him and Jay will be going back and forth on text or something. He told him to come to the studio, and then they did that in 40 days. It was a 40 days, 40 night project. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about timing. That was his window. But yeah, we could have used that project about 6, 7, or 8 years prior.
Yeah, well, shout out to Jay Elect, amazing MC. Just wish it would have dropped when it, when you had that momentum, my brother. Appreciate your contribution to hip hop. Everybody else, I guess with that being said, I guess it's time to get out of here. Leave your contact info, Blue and Red, for the people.
Yes, indeed. On the gram, you can find me at Phil_Moreland, MORELAND. But more importantly, KTL University. You'll see the upcoming Dark Matter Timing 23 event that we have with me, Blue Pill, and AA Rashid, September the 10th, and the ATL at a spot called Industry. Is going to be powerful, but we only have limited seating, so make sure you get your tickets. All right, Blue.
Yes. At Blue Pillar 44 on Instagram, at Blue Pillar 44, the same with Gmail. All right, goldwater.com, GOLDEWATER. Catch us at Invest Fest. All right, we will have we're gonna have a very big booth at Invest Fest on what is that, August 24th for the 26th?
Yeah, 24th, 25th.
Yeah, it's coming up. Invest Fest is coming up. We got a retreat coming to Shasta, right? I think that's full. The Shasta one is booked. We got one coming to Sedona right after that. That's the end of September. Okay, so you can check us out. The link is in my bio on Instagram. Click the link on my bio. You could go directly to Raseki Temple. Let me see. I'll type that into the chat before we get out of here. All right. And yeah, and grab the tickets. Me, Red, and AA is going to be doing something the weekend of 9/9. All right. For the family, you've been asking for it, so it's here. Pull up. We are going back to the mountain. All right. And this is going to be taking place on September
Movie.
2023. We'll be meeting up at 6:44 a.m. around 7 p.m. At the mountain at Walk Up Mountain Trail. All right. And we look forward to seeing you, especially for the family that I've been seeing out and about who has been asking for this.
Yes.
Right. We are definitely going to be.
And do your best to avoid paying that fee going in the park.
Indeed.
When I go in, I tell them I ain't paying.
Yeah, you got techniques for them?
You
got any techniques for them?
I park outside the park.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just get the yearly thing, bro, because I want.
No, I know you got yeah, definitely.
Somebody said I didn't hear the date. That's 9/9, September 9th.
That's September 9th, y'all.
September 9th, we're going up. I have the flyer, and we're going to remind you several times, but September 9th is the date. 6:44 in the morning, whenever sunrise, we'll figure out exactly. But yeah, September 9th, Stone Mountain. I want to see y'all out there just like the 85ers come out there to their events and they support and they be mobbing. I want y'all to be mobbing on Stone Crystal Mountain with us. We gonna get busy up there. Super busy. Like more than we ever got busy before up there. Super duper.
We in some serious times, right?
Yeah.
Compared to a year ago, what's going on in the cosmos is
man,
warranted for an update, y'all. So know that this shit is doing what it's supposed to do, and you have to be present. You know what I'm talking about? To be a part of what's being done. You know what I mean? Because the ancestors are definitely pleased with what is taking place. And once again, rise in power to the mighty ancestor, Dr. Clemson Brown. You know what I mean? His name is going to live on forever, and his legacy and what he represents will as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And on that note, we signing out, family. September 9th. Right after that, we're going to do the video shoot with me and Cam. Somebody in the chat asked, can I close out with the song? So I'm going to close out. See y'all next time, family. I'm closing out. We closing out with I could do magic. I could do magic. So I see y'all not tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday, family. All right? We out. Wrong song.
Yeah.
Started out with nothing. Now I got a whole lot of something. Breaking through the roof. When they walk up, when they press the button. When I do a money ritual, all of a sudden money started coming. Then I cut the Holy Ghost. I still be rhyming even when I'm mumbling. You repeat my name 3 times. While you staring in the mirror, body will appear like poof. I came from out of thin air. To me the gun is like a magic wand. I make a problem disappear. I would nigga tape out his mouth. What? Just to turn him to veneer. I can do magic. 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 When I open up my mouth, I can move masses. Black magic on the beat, turn it to a classic. I'ma take the money out the bank, then I'ma put it in the mattress. So many niggas got.
Peace. We out here, family.
Peace.